Hello everybody and welcome again to another episode of Let's Talk About. This is Amin.
Yes, Alex.
And in today's episode, we're going to talk about something I think quite worrying. So obviously, COVID-19 is the theme of the year for 2020. But what is more troubling for me, at least in Malaysia, yes, okay, the virus is dangerous, but there's something like not even more, there's something as equally dangerous that's going on. We are seeing an increase in the number of scams, online and phone scams happening in the country. So just this year alone, we've reported on quite a few scams already. Somebody lost 24,000 ringgit to a face mask scam on WhatsApp. There was a 5 ringgit iPhone XS scam using a name of a very popular iPhone reseller here in Malaysia. There was a KFC scam that we reported very recently, and that's still going on despite us reporting it and despite KFC putting out a statement about it. It's still on Facebook. There's a big pay scam, and we're going to talk about that in a little later. And the one that takes the cake for me was this poor 90-year-old lady that lost, get this, 3.83 million ringgit over a scam. Just wrap that amount of money around your brain for a little bit. How in the world do you even transfer 3.83 million ringgit online? So apparently it was done over the counter. Alex has been covering the scam beat extensively on searchengine.com. You can read all the stories on our website. Let's find out the story behind, the details behind all the scams. So, okay, let's go to the grandmother. What actually happened?
So based on the reports, right, apparently she received a phone call claiming to be from Post Malaysia. And it was alleged that she has a parcel. There was a parcel containing her identity cards and her ATM cards from Ipoh to Sabah. And they suspect that she's involved in some money laundering case. So at first she didn't buy it. She thought, okay, this is not true. Then the phone call was then diverted to another number, and apparently there are two guys who pretend to be police officers claiming that, this is a very serious investigation and she needs to follow the next steps to avoid from getting into trouble. So from then, I think that she made 7 cash transfers from 20th April to 15th June. So she transferred multiple times until once we reached, I think, 3.8 million, she realized that it's a scam. Then she made a police report. Yeah. So okay. I guess she did it out of fear.
All right. So what we can see is scams are getting really elaborate in Malaysia. It begs the question for me. Number one is that is Malaysia becoming lucrative for scammers? Are we super easily scammed out of our money, or do we so willingly give our money away? Obviously, the discussion here is not to blame the victims, but the underlying question is, why does it happen, and why does it happen so frequently, and why are people still getting scammed despite the multiple reports and the stories, and despite even the police coming out to give out tips, even MCMC coming out to give up tips? What? And we've discussed about it, right, yeah. Alex? People have services have also introduced multiple ways to protect users from being scammed. So one example is the big pay scam.
Yeah.
So what happened there?
So big pay scam, okay, that's a bit interesting. So instead of using the fear factor, so some of them they use the contest kind of tactics. So what they did was they reach out to users randomly and said, hey, you know what, you just won yourself X number of million ringgit or a prize, and to claim your prize, you need to follow the next steps. And they told them to, you must provide them with your OTP number, your username, password, and strangely, they all complied. And that's how they lose money. And there's one person that tweeted on Twitter saying that she lost 900 ringgit because she just gave her date of birth, and that's how she lost her money. And to make matters worse, not only they empty her account from the Big Pay card, but she also lose money from her RHB account. We got a response from Big Pay saying that actually she revealed more than just the date of birth. She actually provided the OTP. And based on from our investigation, when we try it out, there's literally a lot of safety layers already incorporated on BigPay. Number one, they doesn't use a username and password. They use OTP because OTP is a random code that's sent to your phone via SMS, and only you should know. And after that, you need to enter your 6-digit PIN password. So there's 2 layers of security. And I think most of us are already aware, even on banks, e-wallets, right? You're not supposed to share this personal information, but yet they willingly give to these scammers. And I think one of it could be you get too excited because you won a prize. But seriously, it's a bit worrying right now.
Okay, and here's the thing. I just want to add to that. In terms of scams online and via apps, right? There was also a report that we put out on strategy.com. It was Touch and Go eWallet, right?
Yeah, correct.
There was a scam. I'm not sure whether it was a scam.
She said that she lost money out from her Touch and Go eWallet account, and I think it's a similar case as well. It was linked to a card or something. But the difference is that for Touch and Go eWallet, you can actually save the card into your eWallet. So if there's auto reload function, you can just reload automatically, and that's how she lose money. And doing our report initially, we found out that there is one little security vulnerability, that is, it doesn't request OTP all the time. Yeah. So we try ourselves, like we switch from one phone to the other, it doesn't request OTP. So if someone knows your 6-digit PIN, they have full access.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring that up because we've discovered that Touch and Go app via the eWallet had like this vulnerability where you could change phones without the app asking you for a verification. You could top up and you could pay without a verification. We've since then reached out to Touch and Go, and they've already spoken to us as well, and they've already updated the application. Yep. And we're happy to inform that any transaction, any changes in terms of devices. Yep. Or anything that's critical, reloading, payments, top-ups, change of devices now require OTP. So we're very happy with that, and we have you guys to thank for providing us the story and the information, and we're happy to be able to make that contribution to the society to make it safer. But the problem is right now, okay, so my question was, why is it so easy for people to get scammed? I think we've identified 2 things here. Number one is for the older, maybe more vulnerable people, maybe not just the old people, but the more, I don't want to say gullible. I don't want to say that because that's again where we're blaming the victims. But people who are like really unsure or not informed, or I don't know what's a better way to say it. But the thing is, it's easy to play the fear card, and most of the scams have that as part of the modus operandi. It's like, we're the police, this is from the police department, we found out that your data or your IC or your information has been implicated in a case. Okay, that's fine, you're probably scared and you're probably panicking. And then the next phase of that is, okay, we can help you out, or we can clear this case for you. All you need to do is make X amount of payment to this account. And that's where the problem lies, because if we go back and go through the proper channels, and that you actually didn't do anything wrong, you're pretty much safe. I think the first thing you should do is make a police report if you suspect anything that's different or funny.
Yeah, for example, if it's a police case, right? Ideally, make your own police. Go to your police station and verify with the authorities directly, because these calls are fake. Could be fake. So you always refer to the source. Same goes with financial services, like for banks, e-wallets, and prepaid cards. If a person calls you claiming to a bank, right? Well, what you can do is hang up and call the bank, call the actual number that's written behind your card to really find out that there's such a thing. Yeah, always verify to the original source.
Yeah. So here's the other thing, police it's difficult to say banks and institutions will not do transactions over the phone, because sometimes they do call you for surveys or whatever. But I think to a certain degree they should avoid doing that. So I want to call out to banks and other services, you need to limit the number of times you use phones to do transactions over over the line or online, and at least increase the security aspect. Yes, doing things online is a convenience, but if you're not secure, it opens you up to a lot of risks, and that's the problem that we're facing here. So number one, banks rarely ask for your personal information or ask for your bank account number, because they already have the information, or ask for your password. If somebody asks for your password, that is like a dead giveaway. Police rarely do transactions over the phone. any legal cases or any courts, they don't do transactions over the phone. They do it face to face. So they either call you to get you to come to a police station, and if you have nothing to hide or nothing wrong, just go. There's a lot of due diligence that they're not going to put you in a lockup like right away. And just don't entertain lah. I think the easiest way to do is if you get all these weird calls, just don't entertain them.
And also another one is like the online transfer, right? So when it comes to like police, right, they're not going to ask you to bank into like a personal account or a company account.
Yeah.
They normally go through a proper channel. And like what Amin said, right, if anything, they always want you to come to the police station first before you do anything.
Yeah, you have to do face to face. Okay. The other thing is like bank accounts, right? So then your question is, okay, so if I'm scammed and I transfer money to a scammer, and the money goes to the scammer's bank account, can the police trace where the money goes to?
Yep.
The answer is
yes and no.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Because okay, like if let's say if you're running a syndicate, you're a scammer, right? You don't want anything to lead towards you. So normally scammers won't ask you to bank into his or her bank account. So what's common right now is they use mule accounts, third-party accounts that has no trace to the actual perpetrators. So mule accounts are basically could be any normal account, could be your account or my account. So apparently there are syndicates out there, they approach third-party, like individuals, offering them rewards like, hey, can I use your account? I pay you X amount just to receive payments and all that. So there are a number of cases that individuals let third-party or syndicates use their accounts for fraud cases or for scams, and that's actually very bad.
Yeah, and the police has also come out. I think we have a report on that on Search.com. The police has already come out to say that loaning, so they say like lending or allowing other people to use your account for a transaction is actually wrong.
Wrong, yeah.
It's an offense. Okay, so scammers are getting like super creative and super good at. I mean, the scams are getting elaborate lah. So there's fear mongering, there's the contest winning, and they also know that police can trace their steps, so they are now moving towards these mule accounts, which is again, if you, I mean, okay, obviously our listeners are not the ones that are gonna, put out a mule account to scammers to use. I believe in you guys, but what I want you guys to do is like spread out the word and see how we can help people from being scammed, because this is, for example, like the 90-year-old lady, right? The 3.83 million ringgit could be like the only thing that she has left, or her hard-earned money, or something that she needs for her children or grandchildren or whatever. If we can put out the word to say, hey guys, this is a scam. If it's in your family WhatsApp group, your community WhatsApp group, your friends WhatsApp group, let them know that if it sounds too good to be true. I know this tip is like everybody's been saying it, and scammers are getting elaborate, yes, but just be skeptical and just be cautious. Everything that sounds too good to be true, if you feel like, okay, if it's fear mongering, if somebody calls out and pretends to be the police or the immigration or somebody else and said that, oh, you've been put out as a suspect for this case and whatever, right? Tell them which balai police and you just go to the balai police. Don't do any transaction, don't try to settle anything. It comes down to our need and greed lah. Again, it's a thin and fine line. We're not blaming people here, but fear, need, and greed. So the prizes, right? So if somebody tells you, oh, you gotta pay X amount of money to claim this prize, and usually the price is much bigger than the money you have to pay. So you're like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna pay like 500 ringgit so that I can get a 500,000 cash claim or whatever. Dude, red alert, that's already like too good to be true.
It's another thing is that you can't win a prize if you don't join the contest in the first place.
Yeah, it's need and greed lah. So it's like, oh, this is it, did I just like strike gold
Yeah.
here? Am I like super lucky that this is going to happen to me? And scammers thrive on this. Yes, I'm not denying that there is a possibility that might happen, but it's almost 1 in a million, it just hurts to see people being scammed all this time. And then you wanted to say something about like, so we talked about online scam. We talked about a fear mongering and rewards, and then there's scam apps, right? Yeah, you want wanted to talk about scam apps.
Yep.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Like for example, during the MCO, right, the government has announced a lot of initiatives like people can actually get like stimulus package or some cash handouts. So some people might not be informed because obviously if you are eligible for these kind of fundings from the government, there are proper channels to apply, like from the Inland Revenue Board or the Ministry of Finance. But sometimes some people, they thought that there's an easy way out. So apparently there's this scam whereby some random numbers are sending out links to fake apps claiming to be part of the government's cash aid program. So they might thought, oh, it's so easy right now. With this app, I can just apply on my phone. I don't need to fill out forms. So they just buy into it. So they install the app, which is obviously not an official app of the government. And it looks like a legit app because you see the Malaysian government crest, you fill up your details, your name, your IC number, your online banking username and password, and that's it. Your information is handed over to the scammers and they can wipe your account clean.
Okay, here's the thing. We talked about like the number of measures that app developers put in place. Number one, password, and then number two, the almost like a fail-safe is the one-time password, the OTP. So at any point in time, never give away even your username, never give away your password, and never ever give away your OTP. The app scams, it's up to you to be informed before you even go into all these websites. Yes, I know the predicament is like this. How do people don't know what they don't know. They don't know if an account looks legit. They don't know if an app looks legit. I have no idea how to help with people like that. I mean, how do you tell if a government website is legit? Is there like a telltale, with regards to this scam app, how do you tell?
Like for example, applications, right? Never ever install apps that send from like unknown sources. Like if you're using Android, do not download APK files that send over like instant messaging. If you need to download any apps, always use the official Play Store. For iOS, there's the App Store, and for Huawei, there's App Gallery. So always download from the official stores, not through some random link. And for websites, the easiest one is to go to the official website. Don't click on the links because now scammers are quite smart. They can actually mask the link. So the link will be like, for example, maybanktoyou.com. But I click on it, it goes to another site with a different URL. It looks the same, but it's not. So the best way is to go to a browser and key in the address yourself. Log in directly.
Yeah, and then we talk about the third-party people, right? So with regards to the 90-year-old lady that lost 3.83 million, 7 transactions over the counter. The question is like, okay, why didn't the banks do anything to stop this lady? I agree, banks should be more proactive in terms like, hey, you usually don't do this transaction, auntie. Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to transfer this amount of money within this short of a period? I agree, banks should do that, but there's only so far and so much banks can do. At the end of the day, the transaction is done by yourself. And there's like a gray area there because I think one of the popular defense when it comes to scammers is that I didn't steal the money.
She gave it to me.
The money was willingly transferred to my account. So if you lose the money, right, yes, the police will do the investigation, but to be honest, there's very little that they can do. The money, you can say, is gone. If there is some amount of recovery, I think the police will put out like a news release to say that X amount of money has been recovered from scams. Even if the scam money has been recovered, it's not going to come back to you because it's going to be pending investigation, going to be this and that. It'll be probably 1 to 2 years until the money comes back to you. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, and also if this is run by a serious syndicate, they probably run off with the money quicker.
They're already gone.
Yeah, they're gone.
They're already gone.
Yeah, they're pros at this.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
And the police has a lot of other priorities instead of just scam, because they have to investigate murders and everything else. This is not their priority list. The best defense to this is to avoid scams altogether. Scammers are getting super elaborate. I've mentioned this. The other thing is the OTP, right? So why I'm saying elaborate, it's super easy and we've experienced this before. Okay, so you think the SIM card in your phone is yours, right? Here's the thing. If you're lucky and if I'm a scammer and if I know somebody that owns a phone shop or whatever, I can just go to that phone shop and say, okay, hi, my name is, let's just pretend I'm Alex, right? So I just go, hi, my name is Alex, I just lost my SIM card or my phone, can I get a new SIM card? If the shop is lax, or if you have a source to get blank SIM cards that you can provision with a number, it's super easy for you to just hijack that number. Because what the phone shop can do is they can block the existing SIM card
And transfer to the new
and
SIM.
transfer the number to the new SIM card, to the scammer's SIM card. And then what I can do is, after I have your username and password, I can just install an app that I know have your money in it, and just request for the OTP using your phone number.
Actually, you don't even need the username and password. Some accounts, right, you just need your mobile number, which you already know, and request for lost password, and you receive the password via SMS.
Yes, via SMS. So how do you stop this from happening? Obviously, if people already hijack your phone number, there's really not much you can do. But you can quickly go to the nearest the nearest telco store, like not the reseller, but the proper one. Is it called authorized? No,
Like an
official store.
Official store.
So
Another way is you can call the hotline immediately to block the number.
Yeah, to block the number and say the number has been compromised. The scary part is we don't know what we don't know about what scammers know about us. We give out our information very willingly via those picture things, those picture quizzes, the quizzes on Facebook, the picture face swaps and whatever, right? So we willingly give information away. We think our passwords are super complex and difficult to remember. Here's the thing, it's only complex and difficult to remember for us. Scammers, they know what people use on average or regularly. So they have like a feel of what your password is, and they know if you're the person that, if they know your children's name, they know your birthday, they know your wife's birthday, they can probably guess your password, or they can probably write a program to guess your password. And I saw this happen in like real life, and it's freaking scary to see how fast they can just pull out information from your just from what they know of you. Guessing, like you can go online and just search for username scraper or whatever, right? And immediately you just install that plugin, and that plugin is able to detect like the username that's available for you to use. Once you know the username, it's just 50% to guessing the password. Scammers, they go into the dark web. This is a place where even I don't dare venture into. It's like super not safe. And they can pull out a list of passwords that's been compromised, username that's been compromised.
Credit card numbers as well.
Credit card numbers that's been compromised. And they don't have to manually, so they could pull out like 1 million numbers, right? So they could buy like 1 million credit card numbers. Yes, to us, there might be a lot. All they need to do is just put in a program and tell the program to just keep on trying and trying and trying across different e-shops or different vendors that you can try on Lazada, Shopee, Touch and Go. Once it works, then you're through. You can just quickly transact out of that.
And it definitely works because even today, right, not all online e-commerce platforms have the 3D secure where it pushes the OTP. I'm happy that most Malaysian stores do that. I think Lazada should do that, but some of the e-commerce stores based in the US, they still don't request 3D secure. So once they get the number, the number, the CVV, and the expiry date right, the transaction just go through.
Yep. For Malaysia, it's a bit more rigid lah. Our security is tighter. Like in the US, they still use the magnetic strip.
Yeah.
Credit card, I don't know why, but yeah. So where I'm getting at is like this. Number one, calls. If it's too good to be true, just ignore it.
Hang up.
If they're trying to scare you, just ignore it. Somebody just call you, or are you so and so, or can I get some verification? Just look, I don't want to do anything about this. If I don't feel that it's right, if you need any information, just tell me which balai police to go and I'll go. To be honest, balai police is safest because the fella is not going to say, oh, can you come to so and so, and it's actually a shop lot, but there's no balai police thing there, then it's not a balai police lah, so you don't go lah.
Yeah.
I don't think scammers will put out a fake balai police anywhere. So the safest is if you've been scammed, no, not scammed, but if somebody is trying to scam you and tell you that you have a pending case you have a pending payment, you have a whatever lah, right? Or the police is on you, okay, just say, okay, I didn't do anything wrong, can you just tell me which balai police to go and I'll go there. Never transact online to people you are not familiar with, people you don't know. Number 2, OTP, do not give it away. Passwords, obviously do not give away. I stress this enough, obviously do not give away. Number 3, passwords, right? Even if you think it's super complex to you, don't use it across the board on all applications, right? So if a scammer knows one of your password works for email, for example, he or she can try for your other email, can try for your Facebook,
Online banking.
can try for your online banking. And it's just gambling, right? If the
Yep.
fella tries and it works, ka-ching for him.
Yeah.
And for all these things, here's the thing. You want to make a police report, but if your password has been compromised, the police is just going to say, dude, I'm sorry, it's your password. We can't really do anything about it.
And also same thing with the OTP. So if someone transact with OTP, right, the banks will say, you know what, you authorize the transaction because only you should know the OTP.
Yeah. So the onus is on us, to be honest. And I don't blame the police. Yeah, you can shout at them all you want if you lose money, but I don't blame the police. The best way to avoid scammers is like to really take care of your privacy lah. Stop installing apps you're not sure of. Be very careful with your phone number. Be very careful with your username and password. And finally, please, if you can, use a password manager. Obviously, there are password managers that are available for free on your browser and on your phone. So, for example, I think Google has a password manager. Android phones, sorry.
Yep.
Chrome has a password manager. Most browsers have password manager. Apple has Keychain.
Yeah, the iCloud Keychain.
Yeah, the Keychain. So Keychain remembers all your password for you. The intent is to make it easier so that you don't have to remember password. The idea is that for you to have different passwords for every
account.
different login that you have. But Keychain and Google Password Manager and Chrome Password Manager are very basic. I really recommend if you have the time to invest in a solid password manager. I personally use 1Password. A few other people use Dashlane or whatever. It's up to you. We're not recommending or advocating any brand here. The idea is to make sure that you have a password manager. The reason for that is you don't have to worry about remembering any password at all. You just need to remember one master password and just make sure that it's like super difficult or a long word. So, okay, talking about password, there's 2 ways to do it. One is to do it from like random characters and numbers.
Yep.
The other one is to use random words. So I find it very easy to use random words because we're humans, right? And it's easier to remember. So a chain of random words works best as a password as well. One way is like, okay, let's say what are random words here? Okay, I can see NASA, Sony, Soy Jin Chao. So it's NASA Sony Soy Jin Chao. It's a long password. Yes, it's okay because the good password managers and the good apps and bank accounts will not have limits to how many characters you can put in the password. So try that, but keep it random. Don't put name of your children or name of your office.
The rule is make it not so predictable.
Random as possible, right? I think that's pretty much it from me. Again, I started this show like very worried about the trend that's happening right now. Yes, it is a conundrum. People who've been scammed, they don't know what they don't know. But on the other side, there are people who are just memang greedy. Again, I'm not blaming the victim, but need to be more careful lah. That's all I have to say. Alex, is there anything you want to add?
Well, I think like we mentioned a countless times, right? There's a lot of dangers online. Cybercrime is getting more rampant, and I think partly the reason is because there's a lot of successes from the syndicate side. If they can just say fool one person out of 100 people, that's a very good payout for one day. So I'm pretty sure they want to do more and more because there's a high chance of people willing to give the OTP passwords because they are supposedly win a contest. So like you mentioned, right, we all have to be responsible as well, to be more vigilant. Like for example, if you suspect something that's not right, you should just hang up and check with the proper authorities through proper channels. And like what Amin mentioned, invest in a good password manager because in case it's a breach, which happens quite often these days, at least you don't lose access to all your accounts.
Yeah, and the password manager also alerts. So remember I told you about the dark web, right? So if there is a service like, okay, for Twitter, for example, Twitter has been hacked, right? And you have a password there. A really good password manager will alert you and say, oh, by the way, this service has been compromised. You need to change your password. They do it even before the service itself tells you. And they scour the dark web and they tell you that, okay, this username has been compromised. You need to change it. So they also alert you. So like, for example, like my one password, it has this thing called Watchtower. It tells you that if a password has been compromised and where it has been compromised, so you change that. So look for something like that, and try to be safe online. All right, guys. As always, we are available on podcasts. We're available on all your favorite podcast platforms. So you are free to listen to us on the way to work or in your car on the way back from work. Please give us a 5-star rating if you like the show. If you're watching us on YouTube, your comments and suggestions and feedback really help improve the show. Please also suggest some interesting topics if you want us to talk about it. If you have somebody you want us to be on you want to see on the show, let us know as well so we can include them. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you haven't already, please give us please subscribe to strategieshow.com on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up if you like the show, and let us know how we're doing. This is Amin.
And this is Alex.
And thanks for watching, guys. Catch you guys later.
Bye.